Welcome back to Dr. Walls and Friends. And we have a few minutes left in the show. We thank you so much for staying with us throughout this panel discussion. It has truly been a rich day of awareness as well as healing and enjoying our vendors who are here and audience members. And we just had a great demonstration by Mike Andrus and self-defense. And so now back to you three are really healers in this process and working with the community in different ways. And so as we get ready to close out, I want you to talk about what are some of the ways in which you can help the community. So helping those who have experienced domestic violence firsthand, as well as helping to prevent it to continue, or from continuing, excuse me.
Well, I like the latter portion of your introductory remarks. I think preventative measures are the best measures to take. I think, especially from a religious perspective, a person who's a ministry practitioner, it's a little too late when a sister or brother comes to the church or comes to the institution and says that I've experienced this. And so I feel that taking early preventative steps are probably the best way to combat this heinous illness in our culture. And that starts with children and watching and being very meticulous about what they are exposed to, what video games they play. There's a portion of my family, an aunt that I have, who for the longest time, our side of the family didn't think that she and her husband ever argued. We didn't think that they ever had any disagreements, and they've been married for well over 60 years. And if you would engage them about how peaceful their relationship looks, and they'll tell you that they argue probably more than other couples. They did it in the basement, out of the sight of all the children. They never wanted their children to see them argue. They didn't want their children to see what that looked like or what that could spiral into. Such measures, I feel, are very important. And from an institutional standpoint, I really feel that we have to, as leaders, dispel this notion of human hierarchy, because hierarchy connotes control. So this man is greater than a woman, or protector, and all these other things, and a woman, well, she has a role, and it's usually one of subservience and homemaker and all these things. We have to dispel the notion that one is greater than the other and that we're all equal. And me hitting you because I'm a man and you're a woman, that's not really the wrong thing. What's wrong is me hitting you in the first place. Violence is the problem. And so we need a very potent injection of love. And just to play back on the hierarchy argument, my grandmother, I remember, as most of us here have heard growing up, that behind every good man is a good woman. And I remember as a kid telling my grandmother that with regard to my grandfather. Oh, you behind him, Grandma. That's right, you behind Grandma. He's such a good guy. You behind him. And she shut me up mid-conversation one day and told me, no, beside every good man is a good woman. You know, God, when he created woman, he didn't pull her from the hand of man so that we could hit her, or when he didn't pull her from the back of man so that she could be behind us, or the foot of man so that we would walk over her, but he pulled her from the side. And so that connotes that there's something equal should be at play. And so we hone in on these ideas that we're all equal and that we're all human, and that to hit each other, no matter of race, no matter of gender, that it's just wrong to hit people. It's just wrong to emotionally abuse people. It's wrong to speak of anyone when it's outside of the context of love. And so we, from our institution's perspective, we have to re-hone in on those points. And I'd like to just take this last little portion to say that, you know, in religion, there was a very long period of history, because we talked about character traits and what they've evolved into, where women were regarded as the high jewels of society, where actually most human civilizations regarded God as a woman, right? Because, and this plays back to what our brother Imam said earlier, you know, women give birth. Women are, you know, they life starts inside the woman's womb. And so for a very long period of history, all human civilization said, well, God has to be a woman because the woman gives life, and all life form wouldn't exist if it weren't for a woman. So God has to be a woman. The day man woke up and realized that it was his sperm that fertilized the egg, God, boom, became a man. And all of a sudden, you know, we had these various sexism, man over the woman, this, that, and third. These arguments have come into play, and as a consequence, we've seen a lot of things unfold in our society that has. So if we dispel the human hierarchy and preach from our pulpits or wherever our spaces of religious devotion is, that love is the common denominator among us all, and that none of us are greater, and that God really doesn't have any gender specifications in terms of who God loves. And so even when we refer to our deity, you know, even when I refer to God, I always say God. I don't even say He, right? Because I feel that if God were to be anything, God is a spirit, right? God is a spirit. So I don't want to go on a tangent, but yes, if we do that, if we rethink this whole idea of human hierarchy, if we hone in on love and regard love as that great equalizer among us all, then I think that we can really get the wheels turning on how to create a more peaceful society with regard to relationships.
Okay,
We all spiritual.
yeah, and again, you see, that is one of the keys, and that's the most important key for individual achievement of their spirituality. But sometimes we lose the key to what success is. When we look at people's feeling of inadequacy, that may be what precipitates conflict, especially in close relationships. And then it precipitates a need to be defensive and then even offensive. And so, you know, what we try to do is let our congregants know that there are three institutions of life that have nothing to do with your success. It may make you feel inadequate. We got the politics or community and social, we have the educational, and we have economic. And so these are areas that people have to continue to develop in, because those are things that you bring as resources to a relationship. But the thing that is the most important between the man and the woman, or in the home, is the culture, and the culture is the religion. Because it determines how you eat, it determines how you respond to each other, it even determines what rights you have over each other. And the rights are common rights, and they aren't really even civil or human rights, but they're divine rights, meaning that they are God-given. And I think even in the Declaration, we hold these truths to be self-evident. So the thing we try to hone in on is we need all of the keys in a relationship. And when a person is deprived of some of the keys, he feels inadequate. And we do know that there's a colonized male syndrome. When if a male feels that he's not a man, if everything else is taken, the only thing he has is his machoism.
Yes.
And so we see a tendency in some cultures for the macho man. We see a tendency in others, you know, they have what we call honor killings. And so these are when men are colonized by their own tribal relationships. And most of those tribes are patriotic, and that's really a paradigm that's outdated. But we can't speak on that, but all we can say is this. The culture that is in the home has to be based, if the family is a faith-based institution, it has to revolve around God, and it has to revolve around, you know, just what God expects from you. Not what you expect from your mate. You give God what He expects from you to your mate. If they don't give it to you, you have to ask God for it. Because He's the one who can change the hearts.
Yes.
And so I would say that, and I would like to conclude with this. Sometimes we focus on where the light is shown. And you know, we have a tendency, and especially in the media-driven society, wherever they put the light at, that's where everybody goes. And there was a mad mullah, and he was running around at midnight in the dark, looking. And a friend of his came along, and said, what are you looking for? He said, I lost my keys. So he's standing under a street light looking for his keys. He said, but did you lose them here? He said, no, I lost them over there. He said, well, why are you standing here? He said, because this is where the light is. See, sometimes we don't go to where we need to go. And that's within ourselves, in the darkness of our own hearts, the darkness of our own minds. But we only go to where the light is shown. And I think we have a tendency to do that. So the light is shown on people's education, what they bring in, their economics, and just what they do socially. But that's not where we need to look for the key to success. We need to go within the darkness of our own hearts, our own minds, and really see what does God expect from me. And you know, prayer is a very important part of a home life. And so we try to encourage people to use your home as a faith-based institution. And use your home as a place where you really find, or you're looking for peace of mind, where you can leave all the problems of the world outside, don't bring the economics in, don't bring the politics in, don't bring that in, and if you can be successful in connecting with your mate, that's the best thing you can have as far as achievement goes in this world. A saying in the prophet here, of all the things that you have in the world, the best thing to have is a good thing. I like to say I have one sitting in the audience, so she helps me keep me straight.
And Miss Mary May, marriage and family therapist, who helps people keep good mates.
Yes, all day long. I would like to think about equal sacrifice and equal experience, and trying to blend in what the spiritual leaders on the panel with me have shared. The equal sacrifice would help you define what your role is. So we have society that says that women cook and they clean or they do certain things, and the men goes out and they provide and they have their specific role. But sometimes it's about equal sacrifice, and it's not about the image or what people believe, you know, the role should be within your home. You have to define what that looks like within your home and be confident in that. And once you do that, you live in a space of excellence on how your home is valued. Equal experience or sacrifice from an experience aspect is exposure to resolving conflict in a healthy way is necessary. Because when you think about you building the family system and you building how they deal with things outside, how they resolve conflict, how they deal with differences, how they deal with someone disagreeing or delaying their gratification and saying no, they learn that from the context within their home. So if they don't see that within the home, like I think it's phenomenal that you mentioned your family member that was married for 60 years, but they didn't experience anything negative in their relationship. And not so much that I'm saying I'm encouraging the violence, but I'm encouraging peaceful resolution. Like being able to demonstrate that, like you can have the rah-rah things out of sight, but once you get it beyond the rah-rah moment and you're able to take a moment to say, okay, let me look at this in a different way and demonstrate for my children or demonstrate for my grandchildren or demonstrate to my mate that I'm able to have a peaceful and safe conversation, then you're able to begin the healing process. Because you have to make sure that your spirit is in a space of excellence before you can resolve anything. One thing I did do is make an acronym for healing. For healing, I said the first thing would be honesty. To use the H, to be honest with yourself and make realistic expectations in regards to what it is that you want for yourself from individual's perspective as well as within the world. To be educated about what your experience in domestic violence is, be it the financial, the sexual, the emotional, and as you said earlier, having children or not having children, reproduction, abuse. Being educated about what your experience is, as well as being educated about what counseling can really look like. Because counseling is not necessarily judgmental, but that person is a coach to help guide you through that supportive situation. Acceptance that, okay, I'm here. If you accept the fact that you have made it to this place of an unsafe relationship, then you can better get to a place of removing yourself from denial and moving forward to the healing aspect. Love yourself and love those around you. When you love yourself, you can make a better and clear plan on how you can become safe either verbally and or physically, as well as be intentional and purposeful in your actions. When you're trying to escape an unsafe situation, you have to be intentional as well as purposeful, but you have to make sure that who you determine that you're going to trust is a person that's going to also maintain your safety as opposed to exposing it even further. The N for numb the noise of distraction. People in society will say, girl, you better stay in that relationship, that's a good man. Or, all your bills are paid, why would you want to leave this situation? Numb the noise, numb the distractions, because no one knows your experience of sacrifice. And if your emotional spirit is not healthy and healed, you need to eliminate and numb the noise. And last, go. Go in a spirit of excellence. Go in a spirit of where you will be safe that protects not only you, but everybody around you. Because the thing about healing is that it's not just you as the victim, it's everyone who has been in your support system, everyone who has provided some level of support to you, be it on the phone, through the text messages, you going to their home for a couple of days and going back. Like, how you decide to go needs to be very careful, but be intentional.